Hi everyone, comic book reviewer here. This time reviewing on the 2008 film Rambo. Now, as you know, Rambo, the 2008 film, was meant to be once again a 2008 war action film, which of course was meant to be the fourth installment in the Rambo film series and a sequel from the 1988 film Rambo 3. Now, keep in mind 2008 was that point where a lot of the time with some films they were just there to be sort of like there to help keep the studio going, or there to be sort of like a big action flick, or there to eventually become a film that you just remember seeing, but sort of never really thought again. I think the 2008 film Rambo is more like that, but it becomes clear it is still trying to be like a Rambo film. So, the premise of the film is meant to follow Rambo, who 20 years after the events of Afghanistan, now lives in Thailand, where he lives a normal, safer, more kind of everyday life. And we kind of see how a group of missionaries mainly ask Rambo to take them down to the whole to a village in Burma, but we see how Rambo is hesitant, but we see how one of the missionaries, Sarah, asks Rambo not just as a person, but as someone who actually wants to make a difference. And we do kind of see how Rambo has to be more realistic about the world, while Sarah is a little more trying to bring that sense of hope. But we see how after something that happens in that village, we see how Rambo is mainly tasked with not only helping a group of sort of soldiers, but also mainly helping to rescue Sarah and the other missionaries, as well as dealing with the dangerous murdering commanding officer known as Major Party. And I think for the most part, the 2008 film Rambo has its moments where it redeems itself. It does show Rambo having to come to the whole realization he's now older, he's seen basically what people are like, but we do kind of see how Sarah has to give Rambo that sense of hope, and mainly there's still things left for him to reconnect with. And I think Sarah's not a badly written character because obviously she's there to try and help Rambo, but I just think the whole point of the character is there as a plot device with nothing interesting. And the rest of the film is just basically what I think a typical Rambo film needs to be. It needs to go overboard. It needs to go serious. But there's moments where you can tell some of the graphical violence does come off as a little cartoony or a little too overboard. Like when Major Party and his soldiers show up to kind of attack the village, it definitely had that feel of South Park, where you're just watching the characters go overboard and cartoony. Or that one scene where Rambo creates all those explosives and it goes off in a nuclear fashion, which I seriously doubt you could actually do. And that scene at the end where the rebels help Rambo and Sarah, and obviously dealing with the whole other with the other enemy forces, definitely makes me feel like we were watching more like this whole overboard kindergarten fight than an actual battle. I think the 2008 film Rambo is trying to work with what's given. It knows what it has to be. But at least at the end, playing the Rambo theme at the end after the first film definitely gave you that sense of closure until doing another sequel many years later. So I definitely feel the 2008 film Rambo is just there to give a sense of closure to the original three films, and it's just there to try and use what elements it can to fix up what I think the other two Rambo films were trying to do, despite giving a poorly done, really badly written script, despite minimum efforts. So it definitely deserves a thumbs in the middle. Kind of okay, kind of alright, just there to be watchable film filler. So, comic reviewer here, signing out.